Okay, so the next thing I was going to ask you about
And
is...
you got some of it already.
Yeah.
No, we're not starting from the beginning.
No, we're not starting from the beginning.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit better now that I've plugged you in.
Okay.
Well, not you, the computer. So the next thing I was going to ask you about, which everybody's very interested in at the moment, is watching their weight, because everybody's put weight on for lockdown. And you've always watched your weight, really, haven't you?
Yes, yes. My father put on a lot of weight. He didn't get really huge, but he put on enough weight so that when he had, I forget now what it was, that he had some trouble, and he needed surgery. And the surgeon said he wouldn't operate until he lost, I think, about 3 stone or something like that. That was when he'd gone to live at Abergele. He stayed with us, stayed with me after his mother died, and when I got married, he stayed with us a while, and then he decided that he'd like to go off and live on his own again, and so he went off, and this is what happened. So he had to lose weight, and his landlady, because he got a good appetite, his landlady made sure that he lost weight. And my brother also put on weight. He didn't get enormously fat, but they were carrying weight, as you might say.
Mm.
But he was pretty fit and kept pretty fit all the while. And I didn't want to do the same thing to happen to me, so I did always watch my weight carefully, because I thought that was conducive to good health, really. And of course, I kept on walking. I walked all the while. I was either cycling before I got a motorbike and then a car. So I was always active and moving. I was never very great on sport. I was put off sport by going to school and finding that because I didn't understand football or cricket or anything like that, I never got into it at all. And so really that was the only sport. The only sport that I really enjoyed and really did was my running, as I said. Then I stopped that, but I kept on walking.
Yeah.
Because, wherever I was going, when I was at home, I liked to go over the mountains, and my parents were not bothered. I don't think they would do it today. I'm almost sure they wouldn't, because I would be about, 13, 14, and they didn't mind me going on Saturday after school. I'm going to go to school to get on the bus and say, but one of my favourite things was to go to Conway and then go down the valley to, what's the name of the place? I can't remember now, before you get to Talabons, and leave the bus there, which was handy in a way, left the bus, and then I would climb over Talavan and come down by the waterfall at Aber.
Yeah.
And then I could get a bus from there back into Conway and from Conway back home.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it was really that I didn't have to go back to the car or my bike, because there were bus services both sides. And I would wander over them, not strictly the same. Sometimes I would come down at Aberfalls, and sometimes I would simply walk right away back to Conway over the top there and come down off Conway Mountain and down into Conway and get the bus from there. But my parents never wondered. I don't know whether other parents would be the same, but they never worried about me, a young schoolboy really, wandering around on the mountains over the mountains on his own.
No.
I didn't never get into trouble. I did once get lost in the mist, came down very suddenly, but I was okay. I came down all right. I survived. But it was part of exercise in a way without thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about the exercise. I was just enjoying the walk.
All right.
I missed the mountains.
Yeah. We're talking about food now, though, Dad. So
Talking about what?
about food and your weight. So that is all tied in with your exercise. But what I was going to say is, you
Where
started
I wanted to.
you started get yeah you wandered off. You started getting angina when your weight went up, didn't you? So that was another
When I
reason. You
started getting angina
when your weight went up.
yes.
So that was
Yes.
another reason to keep it under control.
Yes, that's right.
So-
And I'm especially careful nowadays.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about my
Well,
food
about your
then?
food, yeah, about what you eat and your strange upside down way of eating that you read
Now?
about. Yeah.
Oh, well, I try to get a varied diet. I look at the well. Sometimes I enjoy watching programs on the television. Now I've got a television, but I think to myself, well, I look at the stuff they do and the way they cook it and all the rest. And one of the things I notice is they're very fond of using half a bottle of wine or something like that, which I think to myself, if you slosh plenty of that, then it doesn't matter what else you put in the pot, it's sure to take night for some people. And I know that they wouldn't find it easy to get hold of that sort of stuff here and now especially, but there we are. But I try to have a varied diet. As you tell me that I've eaten plenty of healthy food, such as vegetables and so forth. But I do try to keep to make it varied. I eat meat, but don't buy chops straight away from the butcher. Sometimes my shoppers will bring me chops or liver or something like that. But yes, well, that's all I can say really.
Yeah, you eat a lot.
And the upside down way of doing it, I like to have, well, I like to have a good meal to start with. I have potatoes and meat and gravy and vegetables, a proper, what we would call dinner. Have that first thing in the morning instead of breakfast. I know it's probably the other way around, but I find that most people seem to think that it's quite all right to have dinner at night. That's and eat vegetables and potatoes and meat and whatever they're having, fish and so forth, and have a good meal last thing at night. But so many have hardly any breakfast or no breakfast at all. And the people who get through to us in magazines or programs on the radio or television keep telling us that it's not a good thing to start the day off without anything or with only a light breakfast. They say you should have a good breakfast. And that's what I think that's why I do it anyway. I think to myself that the old-fashioned saying was that you should dine well in the morning and tail off towards the end of the day, so you end up having a light meal.
Yeah.
With light meal to me is the breakfast sort of meal. So that's what I'm usually getting. I'm having a cereal or toast and something last thing at night and start off the day with, and I find it helps my digestion sometimes when I get digestive trouble, not bad trouble, but that makes me uncomfortable. It's usually because I've done it the other way around and had something substantial either late in the afternoon. When I came here and joined the social club, they did have before all this lockdown business, they had a dinner, caterers coming in once a month and having a proper dinner at 7:45 in the evening, which is the conventional time to have dinner. But I found that I couldn't go to bed then and sleep. I always had to get up because I'd got indigestion troubles. So again, that pushed me towards having light meals in the evening.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop this one and then we'll start another one.